Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel and to the largest video for me to record, my complete collection tour, including all my current work in progress pages and all my completed pages. It's a very large video for me to record, and as such it is split into 6 parts, focusing each part on one shelf of my collection. Each video is still a very long video, so I suggest that you grab a cup of tea or a coffee or some water, grab a snack and get comfy because this is going to be a big video. So a little bit about me before we begin. My name is Amy, aka Amy Ward Art, the colorist behind this channel and also a live stream colorist on Twitch and YouTube as well. And I really love colouring. I started really getting into colouring when an autoimmune arthritic flare-up caused me to lose sensation in my hand and not be able to grip a pencil. And I use colouring as a means to help with the damage that this flare-up has caused to my hand, and in the process felt absolutely in love. I love being able to share different processes, different techniques, and create really beautiful, bright, happy, glittery pages about creating that wonderful, happy little bubble to escape to, especially when things get too tough. I'm based in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and I have a lot of colouring books. Yeah, so we've got quite a bit of a collection to go through. So today's video is shelf free. Shelf free contains my hardback covered books, so that is Maria Troiel, Hanna Karlzon. It also contains my A4 LOM books, which is a certain style of book they produce. It also contains all my Lulu Mayo books, and there are a few other eclectic books thrown in here that are sort of odd sizes that just kind of fit into this shelf. So let's get into the randomness of this shelf. Well, there is definitely Lulu Mayo, Hanna Karlzon, Maria Troiel, and my A4 LOM books on this shelf. There's also a lot of smaller random books kind of shoved in on this shelf too. It's kind of like they fit in here so they go in here type situation. And with this, if you see a book that you would like a full flip through of, please let me know down below because I'm happy to do that because I know there are some odd, strange books coming up. So the first one I have is this one, which is by Miggle by me. Miggle is like a kids fancy stationery store here. I don't know. I've never been in there. Everything, like I've passed by a couple of times and seen a couple of their like items on special, and they just seem so very ridiculously expensive. So I never went and shopped in there directly. However, I found this one in an op shop for 50 cents. So I was like, I'll buy it for 50 cents. That's fine. It's pretty straightforward, but I think it could be quite fun to do with some markers and just playing around and having some fun here. Yeah. Pretty simple, but could be fun. Alright, the next one, next one I also found at an op shop for 50 cents, and this is the Shimmer Art Mandalas. This is by Curious Universe. Ian Dutton, that's the illustrator. It's like, I'm sure there's an illustrator on it. And what this is there are like these foil on these pages, which I thought was really cool. They are like mandala-esque patterns, but then you have like this one with the whales and sea creatures. Now, not all of them are foiled. I think it's just the first 6 or so. Yeah. And then we move into just purple printed ones, which is still kind of cool. Looks like it reminds me of 90s and early 2000s. Like Lizzie McGuire. It reminds me of that, like that sort of cartoon art. I know, that's the vibes I got from it. I thought it was kind of cool. So, and again, for 50 cents, I was like, I'll grab it. Right, and then we have Witchcraft Wonder by Peter Pauper Press. There is actually a flip through of this one on my channel. I found this one randomly in a store, and I was like, oh, that kind of looks cool. And then I was quite disappointed with the amount of words that were on a lot of the text, on a lot of the pages. Kind of ruined it a little bit for me. It's still got some really neat pages in there. Yeah, I kind of was looking at the back here, and I was like, oh, okay, there's a couple of affirmation pages, but there's a lot more of them than they kind of indicate on the back, which is a bit of a shame. But there's some really cute images in here, and I think I could have a lot of fun in here. I try to buy less of this style of book now, where it's like the moon is covered in pattern type situations, because this is not what I'm drawn to as much as some of my other books. Right, we have Fabulous Flowers, and I don't know who this is by, but I know this is an old book because I got this second hand. I bought this at the op shop for $2. We've got the original price on here. So it was brought from the warehouse for $20, except this sticker is such an old warehouse style sticker. They do not do this style anymore. They have not done this for years. So I don't know when this was brought. And you can see, because it's second hand, there is some colouring already done there, but I don't mind that. Yeah, 2014. It's almost 10 years old. And yeah, this is just like lots of detailed floral patterns. Again, it's not something I gravitate towards a lot. Part of me is tempted to unhaul this. I've talked about this a little bit. I feel like I might need to look at unhauling some books from my collection, but I also have a lot of difficulty parting with books. So one of my goals this year is to work more in my unworked books and actually assess if I like these books and just haven't got into it, or if I avoid doing it, then I genuinely need to look at unhauling books, because they should be loved by someone. They should go to somebody who loves colour in them. Right, the next one I have is the Create Your Own Flower Tarot Pack, and you can see the newer style warehouse sticker on this one. And this one is actually like every page is cards for you to colour, and at the end you end up with your own tarot deck, which I thought was really neat. I wish I brought a second copy, because like I kind of want to do one per the actual flower, so it's realistic and actually looks like each of the flowers. But then I kind of want to do one where I just do my own scheme as well and go fun crazy with it. But I might just practice doing actual flowers on it. And I feel like because these are tarot cards, I'd be a lot more inclined to actually get in here and paint, because I don't normally just colour straight flowers. But I haven't quite worked out what media will work on this card. It does feel like it might maybe take some pencils. It's not like the back of it's definitely that shiny plastic card, but this side feels like it's slightly absorbent, if that makes sense. Yeah. But once I start that, it's like you can't just do one card, you need to do all the cards. So it's a big project. Alright, and then we have the Posh colouring book. This is another one that I found at an op shop for 50 cents. And this one is meant to be Japanese designs. So you can see it is a lot of patterns and Zentangly doodly type stuff. Again, this is not a colouring book I gravitate towards, although I do really love that one. And if I'm going to colour any of them, it's probably going to be this one. But again, it was 50 cents, and I was so excited to find a colouring book in a second-hand shop that I just grabbed it without contemplating if it needed to actually come home with me. And now I'm like, this to be showing some love, you know? Right, and now we're starting to get into my Lulu Mayo books. Don't worry, there's still a lot more random books coming out too. Right, so we have Kawaii Tarot colouring book. And I have done one page in here, the Four of Wands, which is, I really love how this one turned out. I'm really pleased with the background, that sort of mottled background. I feel like that worked really well. And then I used just a touch of stickles in the center of the flowers and the Liquitex gold acrylic ink for the border. And I think the pencils were actually were they my Unity cheap ones or were they Polys? No, maybe they're Polys. I'm going to guess that they're Polys. But yeah, really gorgeous. Really loved how this one turned out. And then we have A Million Dogs. This one's actually slightly bigger than her current books, and it is one of her older ones, so it's got a little bit of a different style to her current A Million series, but you can still definitely see the origins of Lulu in this one. It's also got different paper. So I haven't coloured in this one. I got this one recently, but I did notice, like, it actually for a while made me think it was a fake book because it's so different to her current books. Like, this is the size of her current book, so you can see it's bigger. It's produced by Hinkler, so it's produced differently, and then the paper is actually quite a bit thinner compared to like the beautiful thick paper in here. But then even the style is very different. Like, we've got a lot of different, it's almost more sketchy, if that makes sense, but it's like, this looks very similar, but it's just different publishers, and this is older work. So, yeah. Interesting, though. And I wouldn't mind getting a Million Cats, which is another older one, I believe. There's also A Million Kittens and A Million Puppies that is coming out, so don't get those confused. I don't know if they're just reproductions with a new title. I would hope not. But, yeah. I love her new style. They're a lot more like chibified and a lot more cuter. So yes, this is A Million Magical Creatures. Since we have this one grabbed, we might as well go through this one. And so I have done this gorgeous fairy in a glass bottle page. So this one I used Inktense in the background, and I think I actually used a little bit of Inktense on the actual elements in the flowers as well, and then some polys to shade, Poscas as well, and then of course tons of stickles. Really love just that background, and I really wanted to keep these guys almost ghostly, so they're actually not shaded, they're just outlined. I wanted them to appear like they were part of the constellation in the sky. I thought that was really fun. Right, that one was marked for a potential thing, and it did not get used for it, so we'll just remove that. Then we have this page here. Oh my gosh, it's another one. So if you see me removing these little bronze glitter dots, it's actually from a pencil case that I have. The glitter loves to come off it. Gets everywhere. But yes, we have this gorgeous page. I love how this one turned out. So it's just polys to shade, and then Posca as well to do the details. The background is acrylic paint. And it was really cheap acrylic paint, and it didn't want to blend well. But I kind of like the splotchy blend job that I ended up doing. And then I used a like silvery metallic, is that Enchanted Shimmer or is that something else? It might be Enchanted Shimmer that I applied there as well. So the moon has like a pearlescent finish to it, which I really love. Alright. And then I have this gorgeous witchy page here. So this one I used Charisma Color, I think they are. They're a no longer produced pencil. my lovely friend Samsara, when I was staying with her, she won a set, and so she was colouring with me and offered to let me try them. I was like, I'm curious to try them, so I wouldn't mind. I would akin them to the blendability of Prismas, but they feel more like chalk pastels. They're very strange to use, but they did blend together beautifully, so, you know, worked out well for this page. And then I had a bunch of blue star sequins, and I was just like, I'm just going to stick them all over the background. Just stick them down. Have lost one, and the PVA I used has left a really obvious like glue dots here, so it would have been better to use a dot of Mod Podge applied with like a toothpick and control it a bit that way, but I didn't have access to Mod Podge where I was. And then I think this is the next one, is this beautiful fairy with the frogs. So cute. So this one uses the Koh-Lanoir water-soluble pencils, and then Polychromos to shade. And then, that's Stickles. I think that's Deco Art Enchanted Shimmer. Just to make all the like little shimmery bits. And yeah, I particularly love her hair. I put like some extra white dots in her hair so it appear more like galaxy-like. I love her hair. And then the final one is this page here. So this one was an experiment, playing around with some watercolor and just seeing what I could produce with it. And so for this one, I actually used red, yellow, and green. And I laid that down first. And I wasn't really trying to be too specific with where I placed the colors. I just placed the colors down. And then I came in with blue, and I did all the shading with blue. And dragged that down to create all the shadows. And then I pulled out my Posca to do highlights. And I really love how it turned out. It was such a fun little experiment. I had so much fun doing this page. And, you know, it's buckled, but it hasn't really bled through, so. And then, of course, we added stickles afterwards for all the sparkly bits, because we've got to have some sparkles. Alright. Next up is A Million Mermaids. Alright, so I have this page here that I did on a very long bus ride. So that was a very good way to keep myself entertained. So the creatures themselves are Polychromos pencils with Posca detailing. And then the background are the Koh-Lanoir water-soluble pencils and some Posca as well. Sorry, just also having some liquid. It's a lot of talking. And then we also have this one here. So this one was done on the first half of my watercolor experiment page that you saw later on. So I was just trialing out different techniques, different bits and pieces. And that's where this one came along, where I did the green, yellow and red and then shaded with the blue, and I loved the effect so much that I took that and did a whole page with just that technique. But yeah, it's just trialing out different things and seeing how they went. And then I pulled out a bright pink Posca for her hair and went over all the hairlines and pulled out a pink glitter gel and just painted the whole thing in the pink glitter gel so that her hair was quite light in comparison. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun to experiment with. And I think that's everything I have done in here. It is. Right, A Million Cute Animals. Have we done anything in here? I think I have a work in progress in here. Is it this one or a Sweet Things? It might be Sweet Things. Yeah, no, this one's unworked. So, A Million Cute Animals, unworked. A Million Sea Creatures. So we have this page here. So in this one, I use the Crayola Super Tips as watercolors technique. And then I went over some details with Posca. And then for here, I used an acrylic paint to paint out the background. And then pulled out Kaisercraft shimmer sprays and just added it everywhere so it would look like bubbles and sea foam. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward, but I like it. I like how flat it is. So then I have this one here. Yep, we haven't skipped any. This one here, this uses the Crayola Super Tip method where you turn it into watercolor. Just a little touch of Posca for highlights and stickles as well. It's really, really cute. And we have these two pages here, both done with the Crayola Super Tips method. I really like it, and especially in Lulu Mayo books, it just works really well on this paper, on the Michael O'Mara books. So yeah, it's all Crayola Super Tips, stickles, and Posca. Oh, yep, nope, still got a couple more. Then we've got this one here, again, Crayola Super Tips and Posca. And this one, instead of colouring in the pattern of the whale, I just really love the effect of it being black and white with these elements, but I didn't want it to just look like I had forgotten to colour it in, so I actually covered it in glitter gel paint, so it looks like it's on purpose. And I think it will pop even more when I eventually get around to painting the background, which I do plan to do. And that way this will be like even more contrast, and this will pop out even more. And then we have the carousel here, so again, Crayola Super Tips. And this one uses Liquitex Gold acrylic ink as well as the Posca for a little bit of detailing. Alright, another one here, another Crayola Super Tips. Sensing a theme? So yes, this one uses the Crayola Super Tips, Liquitex Gold acrylic ink. This one, instead of putting in a background, I just did a Posca blue outline around the creatures. I don't mind it. I feel like it would be better with some blue around it, but it was fun. It was fun for something different. Then we have this one, which is Crayola Super Tips. I went on like a real spree in colouring in this book with this technique. Right. Oh, yeah, we've still got one more, which is the Owl Cup. Now, I think I was originally planning on putting some extra stars around here just to make it feel more set in stone, like it's floating in the sky or something, can also help cover up some of the texture where I didn't quite paint it as smoothly as possible. Obviously, still haven't done that, but I think that was part of my plan. The other thing as well was that I was going to also carry on the black over here and have this also be like a black night sky or something. I think that's everything in there. It is. Right. A Million Llamas. So this one is just coloured with Crayola Super Tips, but as normal felt tips, not as the water soluble. I mean, I do want to put something over the centre here. I feel like that needs something. Or the frame around the outside needs colouring in, like in here. And then we have this one here, which again is just Crayola Super Tips. I might come in eventually and add something up the top here because it does feel quite empty. So I might also paint behind here or something. Haven't decided yet, but I am happy to call it complete as is, even if I don't touch it again. Then we have this one here. I love how this one turned out. So this one is Polychromos pencils and a little touch of Posca. And I think it's got some gold gel pen as well. Really subtle with the glitter, not my usual dump of stickles. Then we have these two here. These were just done in Crayola Super Tips. Sometimes your girl just wants to like bulk colour in something. I don't want to think, I don't want to shade, I just want to colour in a section and be done. And I guess I was in the mood with these two. Maybe one day I'll go back over them with pencils and deepen their shading and add more tones. But again, happy to call it done. And we have this one here, which uses a combination of me colouring directly on the page with the felt tip markers and then also using the watercolour technique. And then I also use like a silver marker to make the clouds slightly metallic and shimmery. And we have this one here. This one was about me using as many glitters as I possibly could. And this is the day I learned I had no orange glitter. I was lacking in a few blue glitters and I needed more pink glitters. And I also needed a brown glitter. So yeah, after finishing this, I went and brought even more glitters. And I probably have enough now that I could do a solid page in just glitter. And I also based it with Crayola Super Tips, which was a mistake when I added the stickles because they bled right through. So that page is going to be interesting. Then we have this little shelf one here. Prismacolor pencils. Yeah. Nothing too spectacular to say. I should probably do like a wall or something behind it. But it's okay. It is, I love the shading of it. The colours kind of work. And then I have this one here that my niece helped me colour in, which is very, very cute. So I had almost completed the page, but it had been sitting as a work in progress for I don't know how long. Forever and ever, it felt like I just wasn't coming back to it. I just wasn't interested in it. I don't know. It was very close, but I just was like, meh. And she saw it. She wanted to help me colour it. So I let her finish the 2 cupcakes on the page. And I love it because now she's helped me in this book a bit. She's helped me in a couple of them, as you can see here. She also helped me with this page. We had a lot of fun colouring this one. And then on this side, I have one of my colourings. And I use the Crayola Super Tips. I started colouring it off with like pencils, and I think I was using the felt tips just as felt tips. And then I saw something about using Crayola markers as like a watercolour, and so I tried it for the background of this one, and I thought it was real fun, so I added it to more pages. I was using a little bit too much water there now. I'm better at controlling the water now. Because that is one of the secrets. You don't want to go too heavy on the water. And that's everything in A Million Llamas. A Million Little Monsters. Now, this one, my niece decided to help with this front cover. I don't count this a work in progress. And I'm going to fix this up when I come to this page. I will either work really hard to see if I can remove some of the pencil, or I will put down a purple layer on the page before I even begin. Either way, the purple will get hidden, so it won't be obvious. My niece has scribbled everywhere. Or I'll just work it in a way where it's scribbled in. Could be fun. Right, so we have another work in progress, which is this one here. I've done a little bit on it. It's getting there. So this one I use Crayola Super Tips as the base, just coloured in like regular felt tips. And then I worked over it with Prismacolor pencils. So I've still got to finish shading certain areas. And then I also want to add in the Posca highlight, add in some stickles, and figure out if I'm going to do a background or something on here. And then this is another one that my niece has helped me with, and I just realized that I put the year on this as 2024. It was Christmas Day 2023 that she helped me. Oh goodness. Fixed up now. Her brother also helped me, and she was, of course, quite rough. She's like only 4, just turned 4. So she was a little rough with this page, but that's okay because we can figure out something for this one. And it didn't rip up on this design, so I'm not too worried. Right, and then I have this spread here that I did during Halloween. This uses Prismacolor pencils and a little bit of deco art. Apparently one of my hairs is trapped. Deco art glimmer dust for all the little creatures here as well. And then a touch of Posca. I think I might have also put some stickles on top because the glamour dust wasn't enough. Have a sneaking suspicion I did that. Alright. That was A Million Little Monsters. And then the last one is A Million Sweet Things. So we'll start at the back. So I've got this really sweet little page here. And once again, this is done with the Crayola Super Tips technique, using the watercolor effect. And then I also have this work in progress page that's meant to be like a New Year's Eve celebration page. Once again, using the Crayola Super Tips watercolor technique. So need to try and get that one finished ASAP. And then we have this spread here. My God, was this a spread of nightmares? Things just kept going wrong with it. So this one, for some reason, I decided to base the whole thing in purple watercolor. Like, I don't know why. And then I used like a gouache to paint the water. And it was going fine until I added the glitter on top, forgetting, of course, that gouache reactivates. And I kind of lost all my beautiful blending and shading and stuff like that. So that was guttering. Yeah, it was just like things kept going wrong. So I was just proud that I made it through the page. Sometimes it's just about finishing the page and learning and remembering that gouache and glitter gel paint don't work together. So we've got a few more smaller random books, and then we're getting into some of the hardcovers and larger books. So the first one I have here is my smallest colouring book, which is the mini Pusheen colouring book. It's just really cute, really simple images. I have done one in here, just with alcohol markers. Just a really fun little book to just do a couple of simple colours on. So yeah, really, really cute, fun little colouring book. The mini Pusheen colouring book. And then another small one I have is Fedora Minis by Selina Fenech. Now I actually have some more Selina Fenech on shelf 5. However, this one would get lost on the books of shelf 5. So it lives beside like the mini books and the smaller books, just because it is easier to find if I want to do it. And I'm trying to avoid touching the cover because I hate the cover feelings of these ones. They feel real icky. So this one is coloured in, but it's not actually coloured in by me. It's coloured in by my wonderful friend Samsara. She did a gorgeous job on that one. That is Crayolas and then a little bit of ink in the background as well. And then I think that's the first. Nope, we got the little angel Deathbringer. This one here. So this one is Prismacolors and then the Crayola Signature Iridescent Marker. And is also this one here. So I based her hair and stuff with alcohol markers and used polys to just shade it in a bit. And then I used washi tape for her actual dress, which I really love the look of. And a bit of stickles. Gotta have some stickles. And then I also have done this one here. And that's using the Crayola super tip technique in creating the watercolors, and then a bit of acrylic paint for the background and a bit of Posca. And I also drew in the Coke bottle and the circus, and that was to do with the prompts that I was doing for the page. See, it's a ghost haunting a circus. But yeah, very cute book. Just don't like the cover. I've gotta cover them. I keep saying it. I've got to cover them. Alright, then I have the Wheel of Time Unofficial Colouring Book. There's a flip through of it on my channel. Yeah, so this is a big problem of this book. There are no faces. There are no faces on any of these characters, which means either you tackle it like stained glass maybe and colour it in sections, draw in your own face, or just have them creepy with no faces, which kind of relates to the concept of the Wheel of Time, in that, you know, it's circular and that it's just the same story repeating because it's the Wheel of Time turning. So it's the same but new variations of it. So it's like keeps it anonymous. Yeah, I talk about it in the video a bit, but I haven't brought myself to colour in it yet. And again, this is another one that I am contemplating unhauling because I don't see myself colouring in it, but I don't know where it should go because it's like, yeah, I don't know, maybe I need to just challenge myself to do it. So I got this Kawaii Cute and Easy colouring book. I found this one on clearance. It's by Abdu Mahdi or something. I don't know. It feels very much like an Amazon printed book, to be honest. I mean, look at the images. Super simple. If they were single-sided, this would be really fun for markers. But it's not. And so I'm not quite sure what to do with it. The paper's very thin. I don't know if I should colour in it or if I should pass it on to somebody else to enjoy, that would enjoy simpler images. And then we have the Queer Animals and Plants colouring book. This one is really fascinating. Now, unfortunately, whoever they published it with is I was just trying to see if I could find if I could see where it was published or something like that. But the paper that they chose, this is like a reading novel paper. It feels very much like a normal book that you would read paper. But it's meant to be a colouring book. So, like, you could only ever use pencils in here. You could only ever use pencils. Which is a shame because it's such a cool book and it has such interesting descriptions and you can learn a lot about queer plants and animals in this book. So really cool book, really fascinating book. It's just such a shame about the paper. And then this one. I have not coloured in here. I know many a colorist who have this book on their shelves and just keep putting it off. And I am determined this year that I am going to color in it, and I am terrified because it's gorgeous. And I know that these effects are done with oil paint. I know that I can't reproduce this exactly, but I think I can do something. But it also terrifies me. It's also like so tiny, so much tiny detail, such a tiny book. When I ordered this, I thought I was actually ordering the big one, because like the bigger one seemed a little bit more approachable to me. I was not. Alright, so that's it for all the like random books on my shelf, all the like odd ones that are shoved in, all the odd small ones. The odd bigger ones are on shelf 5, which we will get to eventually. But for now, we're going to move on to the rest of shelf 3, which is my hardcover and my A4 long books and those sort of books. So the first one we're going to start off with is Hanna Karlzon. So this one is Summer Nights. My God. Worst thing I ever did was buy this glitter pencil case. Because every time I take a book with me in a bag with this case, the glitter leaks everywhere, and then I'm forever finding the glitter. It's a really cute pencil case, and it's really good size. So, this is Summer Nights by Hanna Karlzon, and I have done a couple of pages in here. I've actually ended up working front to back in this one. I didn't mean to, but it's just the way it worked out. I've also seemed to work in like a primary pink, purple, blue colour palette, maybe with some, and green, and then like occasionally maybe like a skin tone or a metallic or something. But yeah, it just seems to be the way I'm going, which I don't mind. I don't mind if the whole book is colour themed that way. So this one I used polychromos pencils to colour in the little beetle and some gel pens, and then I chucked on this glitter gel paint that I had, and then I had to also add a layer of Mod Podge to seal it down because it's notorious for leaking everywhere as well, and like lifting and putting glitter everywhere. I really like that. And Distress ink for behind the letters. Then we've got a little mushroom here. This one is Distress inks and a little bit of polychromos and a little touch of gel pen. Very simple. And then we have the massive cover page. So the background is Inktense. And then it is, I think it's Prismacolor. Yeah, Prismacolor for this. And then Deco Art paint pens. Because I did this and then the next page and the Prismacolor pencils, and then I swapped back to the polys because I was trialing out different pencils. So that's okay. And so I did this one, and this one's also Prismacolor. And then a little bit of Reno Art Enchanted Shimmer Iridescent Topper for the actual stars as well. And then I switched to polys on this page, and I really liked how this page turned out. So yes, polychromos pencils, Distress ink in the background, and a little bit of the Deco Art Enchanted Shimmer. Just in a little couple of areas. And then, oh, so I did actually skip one. I skipped that one. I went ahead to this one, which I was doing for a free colour challenge. So I did blue, green and grey as my free colours, and then I added in acrylic black paint and the silver metallic paint pen because I just wanted that little effect of it as well. I wanted the solid black background and then this like sparkly, it's not sparkly, it's very metallic silver. So yeah, just free polys and acrylic paint and the silver marker. And I think that's everything because I haven't worked any further in here. So that's Summer Nights by Hanna Karlzon. And then I have Daydreams, and these are my only 2 Hanna Karlzon books. So I have this one here. So this one uses the Faber-Castell Classic Colour pencils and a bit of Posca for all the dots in the background. I like these Hanna Karlzon and Maria Troyal books for when I'm in bed and in a lot of pain because they're hardcover. They're really easy to work on in bed. And it means I can just take whatever set of pencils I want in there and work on a page. And then we have these two pages. So these both use distress inks in the background, and then in this pattern here is a mixture of Posca and glitter gel pens, and then on this side is just the glitter gel pen. So yeah, I think it was meant to be like design your own butterfly design or something, but I just kind of wanted to play with the negative space. And then black acrylic paint for the background. And that's it for Daydreams. Alright, now we're on to Maria Troyal. And I have Luna, which was my first Maria Troyal book. So I've done this page here, and this was actually done with Crayola pencils. Again, in bed. And then I have these two here. So this one was done with Polychromos pencils and Liquitex acrylic ink for all the butterflies. Really, really cute. And then this one uses Crayola Super Tips in that water-soluble technique, Crayola pencils, Crayola signature glitter markers. I think that was everything. I was like, everything's a Crayola product. And yeah, I discovered that this paper really does not like water soluble. So try to avoid doing that a little bit more now. Then we have this one here. I love how this one turned out. So this one uses, oh, is that Prismas or Polys? I think it's Prismas. It could be Prismas, it could be Polys. I genuinely cannot remember. But then obviously some stickles and just a touch of gel pen on the eyes. And again, because I sprayed water on the background to give that mottled appearance, we have got bleed through. However, I did plan on using probably black acrylic paint or a navy paint to block around this, so I wasn't worried about the bleed through because it'll be covered up. Then we have this beautiful one here. So this uses Inktense pencils and stickles or a glitter gel pen and a little bit of Posca, which unfortunately got a bit smudged, for the flowers. We have this one here. I'm pretty sure this one was Prismacolor. That feels like the black, grape or cherry colour specifically. Then a little bit of stickles as well, and I really wanted to give that sort of misty horizon look here. Then we have these two here. So we have another one that's got distress ink, but because it was black on the background, I wasn't worried about it activating through. So we have distress ink and Kaisercraft shimmer spray, and for the cat itself it is Polychromos pencils, and then this is the homemade stickles that I made using Mod Podge, and I also put like little dots of it along the collar. Yeah, it's got like, it somehow flattened down perfectly flat, which is really fun. It just feels so interesting to touch. And then we have this one here. So I actually coloured this backstage at a production that I was helping out in. And my only light was a very dim blue light. So I was doing this purely based on instinct in terms of choosing the colours. So it was a really fun challenge to try and colour this in blue light and trust that I was doing it alright. And it turned out pretty reasonable in the end. Like, I'm pretty impressed. But because it was so light, I was like, oh, I've got this like glitter gel paint to try. So I'll try that out. Did not realise how intensely bright yellow this is. Yeah, it looked really bad because I didn't want to fussy paint around all the little bits. So I just kind of blocked it in, and then I grabbed a yellow Polychromos pencil and I kind of coloured in some areas as well, so it would feel like the paint is a bit closer than it actually is. I do like the rainbow sparkle reflex, but I hate the sort of like varnishy look that the paint produces. So yeah, I don't use that one anymore. And then we have this one here, which is the test page, and I did colour this in just Crayola, Crayola felt tips, just coloured in normal, and then I chucked on a little bit of shading. And then for the fun of it, I was just testing out like paint with some like iridescent paint mixed in and different colours mixed in, and I just kind of stabbed it on and just saw what it was like to see. It's pretty cool. It does look like water. I do really like it. So I want to do something with this page, but I'm also happy to call it like completed as is, because this is the test page. It's not even like a proper page. It's a page to test materials on. So if I chuck anything on here, I chuck something on here. But also if I don't, like, it's a seahorse in a cacophony of seawater. Right, and my other Maria Troiel book is Twilight Garden. And I don't think there's much done in here. There's this one here. So this one is all Inktense pencils and a little bit of polychromos on top to shade as well. Nothing too fancy, nothing too straightforward, too inventive, just shading and colouring, but sometimes that's what you need, and it's a really sweet image. This one here, this was me experimenting with my distress ink pencils and trying to create like the illusion of a background behind the page without drawing in a background. It didn't really succeed, but I still really like the colours that I've used and the sort of variance in tone. And I was a little better about my water usage here too. So I learnt from Luna. And then I think there's one more. There is. There is our fluoro page, which I don't even know if the camera will pick up the intensity of this page. But yeah, so there's this one here, which does use distress ink, and once again you can see it hasn't really bled through here because I was a lot more careful about my water usage. So it uses distress ink, and then it uses the Unity no name brand pencils and a little bit of 3D puff paint in the center of the purple flowers. I didn't intend for it to be so neon fluoro, but also I really love how bright fluoro pink this is. Like, it is ridiculously bright. It's also really cool. So it does give me a bit of a headache looking at it. I don't know how I coloured it. And that is everything in Twilight Garden. Right, so now we move on to the A4 LOM books, with the exception of one book which I keep in this section, and that is Wildflower Folk by Christine Karen. I love this book. I think this book is gorgeous. I have not worked in it yet, and I keep saying that I don't want to work in this book until I finish the Colouring Heaven Christine Karen book I have, because I only have a few more pages left in it. So it'll be like I can finish it and then refocus on this one and do better versions, because a lot of the images in that book are in this book. There are some in this book that aren't in the Colouring Heaven book. A part of it could also be that I'm just scared to get into this one because it's so pretty. So pretty. I just love the cover as well. I just want this as a print. Like this half completed, rainbow haired, rainbow background. I want this as a print. I think this is stunning. Alright, time to get into the A4 LOM art books. So they are books like this. They have a very similar style, including the little LOM down the corner here. LOM also produced Kirby and some of my other books that I love as well. So yeah, but this is their A4 style. So I have a few of them and I bunched them all together. Even though they're different artists, I kind of bunched them all together because they're sort of similar sized and layout. So this is Dark Art Supernatural by Francis Gautier. I wouldn't mind getting his other ones as well. This is a new one for me. I saw it and I was like, oh wow, that's some really cool detail. So it's very spooky horror, which isn't what I normally do, but there's some really cool pages in here. And definitely feels like a good one for Halloween and if I want to do some spookies. Then we have Nature's Magic. This is the very latest book in my collection. This is the newest edition and there is a flip through on my channel all about this book. It is absolutely beautiful. Contains really interesting information about the things you're colouring. It is gorgeous and it's by Stratton Peterson, who I really love their work. I think they produce some gorgeous work. Speaking of Stratton Peterson, we also have Mystic Animals. So this one is also really cool because it has about the animal specifically, so you can look it up, but it also has like the meaning of different animals and why they're so mystical, which I think is really cool. And I've done this otter page. So this one I used alcohol markers and then it is Inktense for the background. And then it is Posca, Polychromos pencils, stickles, and Liquitex gold acrylic ink, and a little bit of acrylic paint for the border. And yeah, I really like how this one turned out. I wish I'd been a little cleaner on the border over here, but other than that, I think it looks really good. I really had fun putting like the blue highlights in to represent the blue from the water reflecting down, and putting that gradation into the water too. Really, really fun page. A really gorgeous book. Right, and then we have Tarot Colouring by Alexis E. Thompson. There is only one page in here that I have done, but it is a full colour along on the channel that I filmed right at the start of my return to YouTube, and that is the full. And I love how this one turned out. It is so pretty. So much work went into it, but it looks so good. So worth it. So yeah, it's Polychromos pencils, Posca, and Liquitex gold acrylic ink. No stickles, surprisingly. But yeah, I just started with page 0 because I wasn't really sure where to start apart from like those pages. I might just work across this in order, to be honest. I might just try and do, you know, the next page and the next page and the next page and see how we go. Or maybe one will call out to me. Who knows? Then we have Believe in Magic, and this one is by Claire Scully. So this is an older one in my collection that I found, but I really like it. It's got some older pieces in here too. I think this is like 2021. Yeah, I've marked it 2021, March. So this one uses Albert drawers, both dry and then a little bit wet on the moon. Love it. Love it so much. This was before I had a lot of my like materials that I use now. So I think a lot of these are pretty straightforward. This one uses felt tips and like fine liners. That's like early 2020. Oh my gosh, this one was a mission. It was a disaster page that I had coloured in really, really badly and been sitting half worked for ages. And so in February 2022, I sat down and I purposely made myself figure out a way to fix it up. And I love how this turned out. I think this turned out so good in the end. You can't even tell where I screwed up. Also have this one here. This is entirely done with Albert drawers. I did activate some of them. This one was done when I was in hospital, I believe. And then the stars glitter gel pen that I did upon my return home. the next one. I thought there was one more before then. Nope, guess not. And then we have this one. This one is just so fun to touch. It's like really textured because it is alcohol markers and then the homemade Mod Podge stickers. And I made up glitters that kind of matched each of the colours I was applying it to, and I spent ages with a toothpick just very carefully applying it, and so it's got like this real 3D texture to it, and it's just really fun to run your hands over. There is also a work in progress in here, and it's a very old work in progress. There it is, the High Priestess. So yeah, this goes back way back to early 2020 when I got the book. This is just some sort of random gold metallic marker, and then I used to, and I've got a bunch of kids books where I did this, where I just outlined the area in a felt tip, and then I would use my pencils to colour it in. And then down here I did do some pencils, and I haven't even like blended it together well. I don't know what pencils I used here. I don't know. This is so old of a work in progress. This was before I was very serious about colouring. Yeah, so I do need to do something with this. We'll figure out what. At least it's not much to cover. Like, it's not much. It's very fixable. Right, we have Astrology Colouring by Anna Yarden. I've not coloured in this one at all. It is really gorgeous. And it's the same deal where it's got like information about different things. Yeah, it's got lots of different neat little elements. If you want to flip through, please let me know down below, and I am more than happy to do a proper flip through. We've got elements. I was just trying to see if there's a Year of the Dragon, because we're heading into the Year of the Dragon. Year of the Dragon, fantastic. I'm just going to quickly mark this one while we're here. One of the most important and powerful symbols in Chinese culture, the dragon was once considered so sacred that its image could only be used in royal settings. Strong yet gentle, wise and selfless, this beautiful mythical creature represents the importance of balance in all things, the ultimate embodiment of yin and yang. Fantastic. Right, I have a plan for that one. That was an accidental discovery, but that's cool. Speaking of dragons, the final item on the shelf, this is not a long book, but it's the same size as a long book, and I feel like it's kind of appropriate to put in there, so I put it in there. This is Dragonology, the colouring companion. There's also a flip through of this one on the channel. It has gorgeous, gorgeous dragon pages and lots of fun information all about the dragons. So if you really like dragons like I do, this is an excellent book to add to your collection. But yes, that is everything on shelf 3. Yay, halfway there. Thank you so much for watching, and also let me know down below, what is your favorite book? What was your favorite completed page? And what books do I need to work in ASAP? Do you own any of these books? Are any of these books sort of on like your target list for 2024? Just let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys, and I really appreciate it when you comment and like the video and subscribe if you're not already. It's immensely appreciated and really helps. So thank you so much, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye.